unlike my whip parade, if you guys watch that, my finishing parade is a lot longer. So welcome. This is my 2021 video of all of the finishes that I completed. Michael's here. We have 38 finishes for me to show you. Now, some were gifts or commissioned pieces, so I will insert photos for those ones to show you guys. And I have kept on my computer a Word document as I finish them. I go in and add what they are. So I don't have dates, but starting from the earliest to the most recent, I will be able to tell you the name of the chart and the designer, if the piece is out of print, if I have copies of the pattern on 1884stitchery.com. But I'm going to be a little unsure fabric wise. I don't keep any sort of log of, you know, threads I used or fabric or any of that stuff. So let's get on into it. I was going around my office and pulling things, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this was this year I stitched this. Or I thought I stitched this longer than a year ago. Nope. Alrighty, so the first piece I stitched, let me tell you about it, and then I will insert a picture. This was for, this was a commissioned piece. I'm looking at the photo right now on my computer, and it says, remember, as far as anyone knows, we're a nice, normal family. I will insert that picture here. Yeah, I was asked to do that for Cal's teacher. She has all these kind of sarcastic pieces that I've done for her, actually in the classroom by like the bookshelf area. Actually, now it's Ayrton's teacher. All right, number 2 was, I was addicted to the hokey pokey, but I turned myself around. That one also was the commission piece by the teacher and is in a classroom. And I really liked the thread variegated colors that I used. Finishes 3 and 4 are both by Prairie Schooler. It's the skeleton and the devil, 2 separate patterns, but they come in the same chart. So I forget who sent me this handmade journal a couple years ago, and I love the fabric on it. And so I decided any little dark, macabre, Halloweenish finishes that I have that I don't want to necessarily make into a pillow or frame, I'm gonna put in here. I use just glue dots to put them in to attach them to the fabric, and that's it. So on the top is the devil, and the bottom one is the skeleton. I know I used DMC for here. I think I changed the eyes to make it a little more pronounced. And then the red, I want to say I used Color and Cotton Vampire. Yeah, and then this paper behind it is perforated gold, perforated paper. And I pulled some of the threads to give it a little bit of a shredded look on the ends, and then so yeah. This is Primitive Needle 1612. That's how to print. I'm working on it. Okay. Let's see. 5 Wicked Night by the Primitive Hair. I know I did not stitch underneath, which I think says Happy Halloween. This thread was 1884 Stitchery Silks. I don't know if I have any of this red left. But yeah, I love how this turned out. Headless Horseman on this horse. And I decided to do it into a pillow. I don't use lizard litter or pillow padding, polyester fill. I use rice or beans or discarded diamond painting drills to fill. And then I just picked fabric, black and red floral fabric, and then I sew all the way around. I cut the backing fabric, I make a little hole, turn the whole thing inside out, and I fill it that way, and then I use a piece of the fabric and try to match it up for the patch. So the patch is actually right here, and I just use that Eileen's glue, and it totally works. So yeah. Wicked Night by the Primitive Hair. I should have brought like I guess I'm just gonna stack them up here. And then I have the fun of putting them all away. Okay, let's cross them off because otherwise I'm gonna forget. Number 6 was a birthday gift for my girlfriend. Just very simple, just a girl who loves horses. She does. She used to compete, and I made that for her housewarming gift. 7. This is Sadie Wood Sampler by Barbara Anna. I ended up having to change I didn't include all the motifs, and I had to move stuff closer together. When I started stitching, I knew I wasn't going to be like exactly counting over where these things start, which means that if you don't have as big of a piece of fabric, but you really like it, you can squish them together. You can put them wherever. The placement is completely up to you. So yeah, I did omit some of the little motifs, but I really like how it turned out. I just have this sitting on top of my hutch here. I thrifted this. It's like a door panel, and this was completely open. So I framed it up in there. Could be a little tighter. And then just finished off the back. I put all the information. So this was in January. But I don't know if I'm in love with it in this way. So I may be refinishing it, doing something with it. But until that idea comes to mind, it's just going to be sitting on top of the hutch over there. Number 8 was a birthday gift for a friend of mine. Her grandma died, and so I wanted to do something as an ode to her grandma that she really loved, but also incorporate my stitching. So her grandma would always say to her, "Save your money." So I will insert a picture here. I used the grandma's favorite color, which was sort of this rosy pink for the thread. And then she also loved birds, so I just charted out a little bird to hang out on the letters, and yeah, she loved it. And love finishing it in the hoop. I need to do more hoop finishes. Now, not all designs look good in a hoop finish. I think it takes the right design and size, but I really liked how that turned out. It was a really small, like 3-inch hoop, and it was perfect. Okay, right here. Friendship is a flower. This is from Cori Batacore, and there was more dress and then something else, like more flowers, but I decided I didn't want to stitch that because I wanted it to fit in this frame that I had for it, and I was totally over it because the girls are solidly stitched and it was just a lot. Yeah, so I loved it on this blue fabric. I used the called for DMC. I changed her hair to black. Yeah, really, really pretty. See, I can do pretty and dainty and feminine as I'm looking at Bo and Charlie. Okay. 10, 11, 12, and 13 are all available on 1884 Stitchery. Up at the top, there is a tab, and let me... Okay, so there's a tab up at the top of the website, and it says 1884 Stitchery Exclusives. You click on that, and that will bring up a page of all of my designs. So, have you talked to your cat today? And I finished these in some primitive and wood frames, and they're absolutely perfect. The other version is, have you talked to your dog today? And of course, the cats can be changed out to whatever color you want, and the paw prints can be changed out to whatever colors you want. And the other one I did was, have you talked to your plant today? I loved stitching the rose tree, and I really like how the final outcome came with the really nice white frame. This was like a Hobby Lobby frame, and yeah, it was already white. Maybe I will. No, it was already white, and so I really like how that looked. 13 is also my design. Peacock Duo. This was really fun to stitch up. It only took a couple nights. I love sort of the Art Deco vibe about it. Again, you can do the colors however you want, or do it as a mono piece. I think that that would look really, really nice. And those 4 designs are available in either paper copy or PDF. 14, Stitches. It's called Roses by Stitches Through the Years. This was a freebie off of, it looks like it's gonna rain, The stitches through the years, I know she's on Instagram, and I think if you click on a link, don't know if it's still up, on her kind of bio, or if you just scroll through or just message her, she would probably be able to send you the link. But this was called Roses. Again, very feminine and cutesy. The fabric is Picture This plus Memory, 36 count. I used the called for DMC colors. The chart also comes with initials, so MG. And I have not found a way how I want to finish this yet. So I save like these kid hangers, or if I'm out thrifting and items come, I ask if I can take them because they are the perfect size, rather than the bigger adult size ones, to clip fabric pieces on. And so I just have this in my closet, and then when I want to go and get stuff framed up, or I don't want to put it in a drawer, but once I show it to you guys on a video, I just hang it up so it stays nice and clean and out of the way. Oh my God, 15 was so much fun. And I remember when I was posting this, people were in love with it. I think this piece really kicked off this year with McKenna really doesn't stitch things that other people do. One, I love being different and unique in that way with my stitching. So this is Bad Hair Day by Tam's Creations. It is available on Creative Poppy as a PDF download. I used Color and Cotton, this limited edition multicolor thread. My boy's texting me. And knew I wanted to use it for something, and so when I purchased it, I didn't know what, but when I saw this, I knew instantly. I did use black, obviously, to go around everything. But yeah, the back stitching her eyes, her face. Yeah, I really, really like how this turned out, and she is usually here, so that's why it looks very blank here. All right, kids are at the park getting text messages. Ayrton's being mean. 16 Winifred Witch by M Designs. Winifred Witch, which one is that? Hold on. Which one is Winifred Witch? Oh. She's buried. Put these in the wrong order. Winifred Witch. I remember I saw Danielle Stitchery stitch this and absolutely fell in love with it. Now her eyes, her mouth, and her eyebrows are all over one. It's not crazy. And then the little gray swoop, I decided to use the DMC Etoile just to give it a little bit of a shine. Her necklace was something stitched, but I decided to stitch on a Swarovski stone. And this frame was thrifted. Love this green velvet touch. Yeah, I really, really like how this turned out. I knew that when I framed her up, she needed to be exactly to the bottom of the frame. And I don't mind that a couple rows are cut off. I think she's just amazing. So Winifred Witch by M Designs. This was in one of the Just Cross Stitch magazine Halloween issues. Get some sun. But yeah, you could probably Google it and it would come up. I'm going to pause you guys and call and yell at my kids. All right. Back. Okay, that was 16. Number 17. Ego Sum by Latte Studio. 1884. It's like a huge advertisement. Is the only place where you can find in PDF and hard copy designs from Latte Studio. Back in April, I proposed a Latte Studio April. Purchase either PDF or hard copy, and let's stitch it up. So I picked Ego Sum, and all of Latte Studio designs are outlined in black and then filled in with color. So I just stitched the outline because there is so much detail in just the outline work alone. I think there were some other flowers, but I just did the one. And then I backstitched the wording rather than, I can't actually remember if it was charted in backstitch or cross stitches, but as a well-spent day brings happy sleep, so a life well spent brings happy death. It's like kind of puckered. Need to fix it. Put it in this vintage gold frame, which I absolutely love. And this piece and a couple other sort of death related pieces are on the top shelf in my hutch thing with Bo and Charlie. It's sort of a little shrine to them. Yeah. Ego Sum, which is I am. 18, I had framed up. This is Strawberry Blossoms by Kathy Barrick. Decided I did not like it framed up, so I took it out and put it in my binder scrapbook, 12 by 12 inch scrapbook binder, for it to stay all nice and safe. There was a bit more to this pattern, but I changed it. So I'll show you my whole binder. So I got this at Michael's, 12 by 12 inch scrapbook binder. I wanted it to have 3 rings that I could add pages as I added more finished pieces. So a couple months ago, I wanted to rearrange things in my room, in my office, and decided, well, it was when we put the shelves up, when I had Joe put the shelves up, I decided I need to cut back on the framing that I do. And I wasn't totally in love with a number of the frame jobs that I had done years ago when I first started stitching. So I decided, obviously I don't want to throw them away, but what can I do to still be able to display them and see them whenever I want, but then also in something that doesn't take up a lot of room. So the whole scrapbook thing came to mind, and I just have them inserted in the sheet protection. No stickers. I'm not making it like full scrapbook pages, but just a way to keep them safe. And if I do decide to ever reframe them or do anything with them, then they are easily accessible. I do have printed out the month and year that I finished them, the name of the chart, and the designer. And so I want to print those out, those labels, and then stick that next to the piece, just so if I do want to reference it, then at least I have information on it. Witch of Bramford Station. This is from Queenstown Sampler Designs. I believe I have a copy or two on 1884 Stitchery. And here is my finish. I finished this on a trivet. Worked perfectly, as you can see. Down at the bottom, you could stitch in like Witch of Bramford Station, but I obviously didn't do that. Wrote information on the back, tucked it in. Yeah, and I just love how she turned out. Love the colors on it. Put her there. 20, Voodoo Girl by Haberdashery Designs. See, I stacked these up, but I stacked them the wrong way. So now it's like, why? Trying to pull them all out. And I didn't frame her up. I actually made her in to a little voodoo doll. So yeah. The stitching, I know, so this chart is out of print. There were some like half stitches, quarter stitches, some other stuff, and I just decided to omit all of that. Yeah, I love how she turned out. It came, so it was a full kit. Well, not the fabric or backing fabric, but it did include the pins. So they're like bones. This, I think it's like a needle threader and has a little skull. And then I backed it with some purple and black striped fabric. And I wanted to make it look like homemade and stuff. So I cut out a piece that was going the other direction. And she's in my little hutch as well. Beginning of the year, I think it was February 1st, because I know a lot of sales start on January 1st, and so I didn't want my sal to get sort of mixed in the pot of other sal, so I decided to start my sal February 1st, and this is what the completed piece came out as. So it was a 6-month stitch along, and I stitched it as I went so then I could stitch it with you guys and take photos. Just use DMC. And then this frame was a thrifted frame, but I know it's from Hobby Lobby. yeah. $22 is available as well on 1884 Stitchery in paper copy or PDF. This is Helen Sanderson, 1895. And when I saw the original stitched piece, I knew I needed to reproduce it. The colors, I got the sun, so that's why now you're getting a shadow here of my camera. The colors completely sucked me in. The font of the large number of the large letters. And then down at the bottom, I loved the little sparrow birds and this dog. And then, yeah. And this I just got recently framed at my Michael's. So, Helen Sanderson. 22 no, 23, Reaping Love by Silver Creek Samplers. I completed this in July. This was a thrifted frame, but it is from the Family Tree Frame Company, which I have heard of. I think they do make frames for certain cross-stitch patterns. But this would be something easy enough to make yourself, because if you see just sort of a frame, I know you can buy kind of special little wooden doodads at, if it's Lowe's or Home Depot, and then this is a separate piece that was probably just glued on. But so you attach those and it looks amazing. I did not stitch this up on Ada to make it work in this frame. It was just dumb luck. But yeah, I did do it on Ada because this is an XJU design fabric. I'm forgetting what. But yeah, I love how this turned out with the Grim Reaper. I love you to death. The heart here is in DMC Etoile. So it does have a little bit of a shine in person. Framed it up myself. I use, years ago when I was younger, I did do actual like scrapbooking. So I have a lot of like kind of heavier thick cardboard or cardstock. And so I will put that on the back of pieces and then just use tape to hold it down. And then I just write on it with my information. 24 was the Stitch Goddess. There were 2 versions depending on what hair color you wanted to go with. And this is from Tiny Modernist. Loved all the little motifs and the colors. I stitched this on a piece of Ada that came in a Stitcher stash that I had acquired. Now her dress, the whole background of her dress, is charted to be filled in. I did not want to do that. So all I did was do a single outline in the color and left it as that. And I really like how that turned out. I framed this on just canvas board, which they are selling canvas boards at least my Dollar Tree here in Arizona. Smaller ones, I don't know how big they go, but you can get a pack of them for pretty inexpensive. And then I just use a nail gun to attach. When I did record doing this frame job on the canvas. I did pull it up a little too high up here, so I had all this extra. So just to kind of fill it in, I had a piece of lace that I just laid across the bottom, and all I did was nail it on this side and then just pulled it really, really tight across the front, so there was no glue, no nothing, and then just stapled it over here. $25 is a piece that I stitched for my grandmother and took it to her during the summer when my grandfather's memorial family get-together was scheduled. And I will insert a picture of that here. I absolutely love how it came out. The words that I stitched: storms never last, do they, baby? Bad times all pass with the winds. Your hand in mine steals the thunder. You make the sun want to shine. Those are lines from my grandparents' favorite song. And so I backstitched those because I didn't have a lot of time to get this done. So I backstitched them, and then the picture you see is a photo that I took of my grandfather without him knowing a number of years ago when I went up. At a period I was kind of into photography, and I had a camera, and I don't know, I guess I just knew the morbid side of me was like, your grandparents aren't going to be around forever. And I wanted to capture them on film without them knowing, right? Not pose, not stage, none of that. So the photo of him, it looks like he's looking at me, but he's not. And I've always remembered that I still had it. So I got it printed out, and it was taken in black and white. I didn't need to alter it. And I just have that with some glue dots onto the fabric and framed it up. My grandmother absolutely loves it. She took it with her to my aunt's house where we had the whole gathering, and she had it on display along with some other kind of photos and tokens of his life. But yeah, I absolutely love how that turned out. 26 could not have been more appropriately named, and thus I knew I had to stitch it. Shameless Hussy. This is from Rhonda's Originals on Etsy. I don't know what to say about her. She's just amazing. I wanted to put her in a round frame. So I had this old wooden one, thrift store, of course. And then on the chart, it's charted that you stitch like the top of her dress, right? Well, I thought, how cool would it be to add like kind of like a textural element if I could find lace that I could put across to make it look like her shirt, but it's actually just a piece of lace. So this frame worked perfectly to do so, and she, I know, hangs up here. 27. It's teeny tiny. And there's more to it. I think there's a little bit more to this pattern. And the threads I picked, there was something funky about this design. So it's a deer in grass by Fingerwork. The DMC wasn't given, or it was in threads that I couldn't find then a conversion for to DMC. I can't remember. But I fell in love with the colors based off of the image on the front of the design. So, deer in grass. Thrifted frame. People, thrifted frames are the way to go. Look at that. I was feeling good that day because I laced it. Don't know why, but I did. I can see I missed writing on the back of a couple of these. So before I put these back up, I need to write all the info on them. 28, Witchy's Brew by Primitive Stitchin', available on Etsy. And there we go. I loved the font of the alphabet. I loved that the sort of bat border didn't go all the way around and partially down on the side. I loved the cute little scene, and that would be cute enough to just stitch like that if you didn't want to do the alphabet. 40 count something. And then I really like it in the blue frame. The tombstone is in a gray, but I feel like it's like a gray blue, and so that blue undertone works really well with the blue frame, even though the gravestone is really tiny. But I like the colored frame with it. Simple. 29, the Abigail Brown Sampler by the Exemplary Collection. This was amongst a Stitcher's stash that I had acquired. And I spent maybe an hour and a half filling in and finishing up where she had left off. Love this piece. I have seen this piece before and I fell in love with it. Absolutely love the colors. And not too long ago in one of my videos, I showed you guys this all framed up in all of its glory. I'm going to turn this light off and go back to natural light. Give me a second. Oh. Let's see how this works. Let's go. Okay, we'll go with this. The sun's going down. But yeah, I love this frame. So many of you guys said that you absolutely love it as well. So yeah, I just had some of this lace fill-in border to do. I brought this border across. I know I did the tree trunk, and then there were a couple flowers, I think, to finish this. This is all 1/1 here. But yeah, I think it's an absolute stunner. So I don't know if you're giving me credit for it. Like, McKenna, you didn't stitch it from start to finish. No, but I did finish it. And I paid to get it framed. So I get like half credit, okay? 30, Stitcher's Garden by Sub Rosa. I do not have a picture of this. Let me double check. Nope. Stitch it as for a friend that is going to be gifted to her soon. But if you look up Sub Rosa, SUBROSA on Etsy, it is called Stitcher's Garden. 31, Winter Rose Manor by Brenda Gervais. I didn't stitch it from start to end, but I had to put a few hours into this, and I framed it up. So more half credit, so together it's full credit. Winter Rose Manor. A lot of the white of the house I had to stitch in. Border. Finish this border. Some of the snowflakes. And then I had to stitch this whole entire basket on the house. I don't understand that, but I loved it. And I wanted it to be done before Christmas because it doesn't scream Christmas. And unlike the lady at Michael's that said, I don't really know if I like the gray frame. Well, guess what? I love it. It's not hanging on your wall. Yes, somebody came up to me and stood over me and critiqued my frame choices at Michael's. I love how it turned out. 32, Springtime in the Graveyard from Tusk and Cardinal. I had, oh no, Deer and Grass does have a backing. See? See? Oh, it came off. I have to reattach it. Okay. Ugh. Creepy Cross Stitch. You can get this book off of Amazon. I did a flip through of it, and I definitely want to do more designs out of this book. Love this. So what's the name of this? Springtime in the Graveyard. And this is what I stitched. I have lots of tiny little frames, but no tiny little frames that I liked for this piece. So this is just hanging next to Beauregard over the book that he's on. What's the book you're on, Beauregard? Embalming. So it's just laying there till then. Somebody's at the front door. I'm not getting up. I'm almost done with this video. 32, At the Met by Mirabilia. Remember? Oh, now I'm getting weird lines. Whatever. You guys cannot see it. I decided to chop her off, and she's amazing. So yeah, you don't need to do the whole Mira. Just stitch what you want to stitch. So I did. She is blinged out with Swarovski crystals. Only the best. And they're beads. Thrifted frame. And I love her. Oh, that's another one I gotta write on the back. 34, The Gardener by Blackbird Designs. Cute little pillow. The Gardener. This chart is still available. I don't know what to say about that. It's just cute. Beloved Companion Memorial Sampler by Pineberry Lane. I miss Wally. I miss my Wawa. Here we go. Little locket of his fur. And yeah, I really like how this turned out. And now that Christmas is over, I could probably talk Joe into taking down the Christmas tree next week. Probably do that when the boys are gone. That's back in school. Been out for 2 weeks. Oh. So on one side of the built-in cabinets or built-in bookshelf, we have my dad's ashes, and on the other side we're going to do a whole like little memorial for Wally. Pausing. Okay. Farewell. This is from 1884 Stitchery. This is not available yet, but I did finish stitching it. I need to get it framed up. This will be available sometime next year. I love bleeding hearts, so that's sort of what's going on along the top. I was going to add it to the bottom, but I kind of like the idea of the border just being up at the top. The writing passage is from a sampler that I bought well over a year ago. Does that say 1879? 18 something. Huge. A cat on a rug, a dog on a pillow, there's a deer up at the top, dense stitching, flowers. I'll insert a picture of it here. Love the passage. You would think it would be something to, you look at that sampler and you do, it's not a sampler. Excuse me. You look at that piece and you don't think that this is what's on there. Farewell, dear friend, a long farewell, for we shall meet no more, till we are raised with thee to dwell on Zion's happier shore. Our friend and sister is dead, the cold and lifeless clay has made in dust its silent bed, and there it must decay. But is she dead? No, no, she lives. Her happy spirit flies to heaven above, and there receives the long-expected prize. I know. I was happy to get that done because I hadn't touched it in a long time, and I think I finished that like early December. And I definitely was going through my whips like, okay, what can I wrap up to get done? 37 is the Procession by The Work Basket. I do have of this on 1884. And I talked about this in my last update video. And again, I just have it hanging because I don't have a frame to fit this. And so I am not afraid when I go thrifting. I take these pieces and I get real comfortable. I go through all the frames and then I go and find like a sofa or like a table or somewhere I can spread out. and I see which one will fit. 38, the last one of the year. Blue Beard's Princess by Mirabilia. When I got up and paused, you guys, I came back in and the sun was bright. But now I'm going to open up the window again to get some natural light. So I can show this to you guys. So again, Stitch and Amira, cutting her off. Fabric is Picture This Plus Voodoo, 36 count, 1/2. Love how 1/2 on 36 count looks. The skin is nothing special, no 1/1. Pulled out my Swarovskis again. I attached them by using glue. Added some, just what, 4 in her blue section of her hair up above. The comb she is holding is supposed to be done in Mill Hill gold beads. I just converted it to a DMC color. I did not want to do the beads on her. Her minimal top, I put in 3 clear Swarovski crystals, and then underneath the shell she is holding, I attached glued on Swarovskis as well. Thrifted frame once again. No, this frame came out of a Stitcher's stash. Framed it up, piece of felt on the back, and then I took a piece of like cardstock, wrote all the info, and then I sprayed adhesive the back of it and attached it to the felt. The shells are real shells that I collected when we were in Hawaii earlier last year, and all I did was glue gun those to the frame. So yeah, there is my Blue Beard's Princess. That's it. Well, that's not it. That was a lot of freaking work my last year. Looking at it, that's time that I neglected from my husband and my kids. And I don't feel sorry for 1 second. Right, Erwin? We right? Huh, kitten? Do you want to say hi to the people? So, do I go by any sort of, oh, it's 2022? I just want to, like, how many finishes do you want to get in? I want to get in more than 22. That's it. Oh, do I need to move this down a little bit? I'm not too like, oh, I need to outdo what I did last year. Because I just keep thinking, I'm, 5 years into stitching? Erwin, say hi. And I already have a ton of finishes. Do you know how many finishes I'm going to have if I crank out like 40 a year till I'm dead? Oh my God. I'm going to have to then start selling them. Erwin. Erwin, say hi. Say hi, Erwin. Oh, he just wants love. Okay. You gonna purr? No. So yeah, let me know. Let me know down below, how many finishes did you get in for 2021? What do you hope that number is for 2022. Do you even care? I'm definitely a product stitcher. And I like to see my finishes. I like to stitch things and have finishes. But I also know people do haids and they completely understand that they may only finish a couple haids within their lifetime. Totally cool. You purring for the people? I know. All right, guys. Am I gonna come back for another video? Maybe tomorrow. Maybe an update. We'll do an update video tomorrow. Why not? Thank you guys for watching. If you need information on any of the designs that I showed, just comment down below and I will get back to you, or feel free to message me on Instagram, Facebook, through 1884stitchery.com. You can send me an email. Michael and I thank you. Guys, will see me next time.